We all know that you can build a useful EDC kit inside something this small, but I didn't want to do the same old boring Altoid EDC kit. I wanted to do something different. Today, we're going to find out if I can turn this into an urban survival kit. So this is a Nintendo Game Boy mint tin, and at first glance, it just looks like a collectible candy container. But the goal today is to turn this into a fully functional urban survival kit. Now, when you're working with something this small, space is extremely limited. So every single item has to earn a place in this container. So let's open this up and see what actually fits inside. When you're building a micro kit like this, the trick isn't just packing the gear in. It's choosing the right tools that solve the most problems with the least space. So I'm going to try to fit as much stuff as I can in here so it maximizes my space, but also provides most of the stuff that I'll be using day to day. So we're going to open this up. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the base right here. We're going to start off with is we're going to need some money. Sometimes when you think you have money in your account, you don't. It's always good to have some paper bills. First, we're going to stick a $50 bill at the bottom. The second thing we're going to do is put some paper in here. I got 3 pieces of paper, something to write on. We're going to stick that in here. It's already been pre-cut, so that's good to go. Next thing, I sometimes don't have a place to wash my hands or sanitize my hands, so I have this pack right here. This is antimicrobial hand wipes. Nice to have that towelette to clean yourself in your hands. So we're going to stick that at the bottom. As you can see now, everything is starting to pack down with that $50 bill that was sticking up. Now that's packing down, so everything is coming into play. The next thing we're going to do is I like to have some type of medical supplies on me at all times. What I have here are 2 Band-Aids, and that will go right here. And then the next piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a magnet on here, and you'll see why in a moment. All right, so what I did was I actually took the business card that somebody had that was actually a magnet. So this is perfect because it's basically so thin that it will be useful. So I pre-cut it, and I'm going to put this at the top. And as you can see now that everything is starting to pack down really good. There is going to be a definite use for this magnet. Next thing is you want something to cut. I didn't want it to stick any old knife. I wanted to make something practical. So I took a razor blade and I covered it in duct tape. 2 reasons. Number one, you'll have something to cut with. You're using the duct tape as a handle so you don't cut yourself. But also too, if you don't need to use the knife, you can use the duct tape for anything. I cut it in 2 different sizes. If I turn this over, there's 2 strips here. There's this piece this wide and also a thin piece this wide. I wanted to have 2 different widths of duct tape. This is a trick that I learned from work. If you don't want to struggle trying to peel duct tape off, take this and make a tag. I made a tag so it's easily accessible that you can take off the duct tape if need be. Anytime you're taping anything up, put that tag and it's easily accessible. So that is my knife. I'll put that in here. Next up, you want something like a flashlight. Flashlights are always good for illuminating dark rooms, so it's always good to have a flashlight. I have the Lumintop CO1. This is 120 lumens. It's good enough for what I need to use it for. It does come with a glow-in-the-dark protective cap for the flashlight. It's good too, especially if I don't want to get the lens to scratch, but also have something that glows in the dark. There's actually a special surprise in here. We talked about me wanting to have some medical stuff in this EDC kit. So what I did was I took, if you look at this cap, inside Tylenol medication. If I have a headache, I can take this until I get home to take some more. So I wanted to include some type of medication. The best way I found is in this little cap thing. Yeah, so that is my flashlight / medication bottle. That will go right here. Next thing is sometimes you will need to have some fire. I went to get myself a mini Bic Lighter. These are great for whatever you need to light. It could be anything from survival to lighting a birthday cake. So that is a mini one that's very low profile. And this is going to go right here. So it's nice and tight. So the next thing I'm going to do is I have here some mini zip ties. These mini zip ties are great for things like if you're in the office and you need to tie up some wires, like maybe your backpack or something ripped or anything at all. There's endless amount of things you can do with zip ties. I would use it in the office for tying up wires, and that is going to go right in the corner. Before we talked about how I had some paper, I need something to write with. I really wanted to maximize the space, so what I did was I purchased this. This is a metal pen refill canister. And this thing here was probably like $5. I didn't want to buy the whole pen. So why don't I just buy the metal insert, refill insert that goes to it? And it's great. It's small enough to write with, and it's comfortable enough that I can jot down whatever I need to jot down. And again, it's all about maximum space in this canister. So we're going to stick this in the corner so it's not taking up any space at all. So next up, I have some tweezers. The tweezers is wrapped up in elastic bands. The reason why I have tweezers is because there's multiple reasons for needing tweezers, from pulling out a sliver to maybe pulling out something that's very small that's inside something. With an elastic band, there's many different uses, but what I did was to maximize space. I took this elastic band and wrapped the whole thing around. That just keeps it from opening up. Again, the key word is maximizing that space. And this is going to go right in here. All right, so everything is coming together good. So next up, what we're going to do is I want some kind of a tool. Maybe if I needed to tighten a screw, what I'm going to bring in is I have my Craftsman offset ratcheting screwdriver. So I said that I would replace this as my EDC screwdriver. So I will include this into this kit. So for that, this is going to fit in here, and it fits in perfectly. It's the perfect length, and it's a good addition for my EDC kit. All right, so next up, remember how I talked about how this magnet will be useful? Here where it comes into play. So I can't use that ratcheting screwdriver if I don't have bits. I have my 3 bits, and I'm going to take these bits and place them in here, and it will stick to the magnet so it doesn't be moving around when I'm walking. So that is going to fit in here. So we're pretty much almost done with this. Now, from our previous videos, a lot of people said, why don't you include a sewing kit? We are going to include a sewing kit in here because there's multiple uses for a sewing kit, fixing clothes or a backpack or anything at all. What I'll have is just a spool of golden thread, and that is going to fit in here. So everything is nice and tight. And obviously I can't use the thread without some needles. So what I did was the back, the Game Boy cover, I actually taped up some things to use for my sewing kit. So I have a large bobby pin, my big needle, and 2 small bobby pins. So that's the full use for the sewing kit. So I'm going to go ahead now, and that's pretty much it for this kit here. So we're going to go ahead and close this up. And as you can see, it fits in really good. So now, sometimes when you're putting this in and out, you may or may not need assistance. So what I did for this is I'm going to go ahead and grab a secondary elastic. So the secondary elastic, what that's for is basically, it just makes sure that 100% that this whole kit is secure. I can take this and chuck it into a school bag or any type of bag. Now I'm assured that it is secure, that everything doesn't go flying all over the place. And also you can stick things in behind or in front, things like maybe some money or another pen. So that is why I have the elastic going around the Game Boy. That's pretty much it for this kit here. I'm going to have some final thoughts on this. That is my Game Boy EDC kit. It's small, it's lightweight, and it shows that you can still carry a few practical tools even when space is extremely limited. This is just one version of the kit. There's a lot of different ways you can set up, and you can actually use different types of containers. What would you add to this Game Boy EDC kit? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this practical Game Boy EDC setup, consider subscribing because I've got more videos to come, and I will see you next time.